Last week, we talked about whose fault is it for the bullying to continue. This week, we're going to talk to somebody that might have a solution how you can help end bullying. We will discuss that after I hit this music. Joining me this week is Barb Kaus. She is a CEO of the Greater Mankato Area United Way. Barb, thank you for coming on today.
Hey, Tim, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So last week, Barb, we were discussing whose fault is it for the bullying to continue. A lot of people like to point fingers at other people. It's the school's fault or it's this person's fault. But in reality, it's all of our faults. It's everyone's fault. It's how we live as a society and what we allow things to happen or how we talk or behave outside of our home or inside of our home as well. It's been about 9 months since I've partnered with the United Way with the anti-bullying program. And I did not realize how involved you guys are with the community. Can you tell me a little bit more what you guys do?
Sure, I'd be happy to. We're responsible for having the holistic look over all the needs versus a singular look. So it's our job to make sure that people are getting help all the way around in their lives. And that's from birth to the very aging. And that's from all aspects. Besides supporting some just wonderful programs and organizations that do the hands on work financially that we do, we also need to rise the awareness to certain things that are happening within our community that need a light shined on them. We need to find a path for change to make sure we get rid of the stigma that's attached to them and find solutions. So it's really important that we are out there bringing those to light. And one of those is the anti bullying. We need to wrap our arms around those that are being bullied. Why is that? And what's the solutions that we have that can bring forth to our communities to help prevent that from happening?
And how many communities do you guys serve in your area?
So we have four counties that we're responsible for, all of Blue Earth, Nicollet, LeSueur, and Waseca counties. And so there's 13 districts, school districts inside those. So it's every citizen within those four counties who are responsible to help.
Are you guys connected with each school district as well? Like, do you know each superintendent for each district?
We do, and we're working very heavily
Wow.
involved with all of them. We're getting deeper and deeper as time progresses, but with mental health at the state that it is for everyone, but especially for our youngsters. We need to make sure that we're there forthfront in helping, trying to find solutions to help them have the tools they need to be successful citizens. Because right now it's severe. It's severe where they're at, and majority of the children and their thought processes about their value, not feeling loved, not feeling cared for, not feeling a part that they belong. All of those rejection pieces that we need to get reversed so they don't feel that way. That I take very heavily on my shoulders to say we need to find solutions and have committees created, task force created to talk about these topics and then try to find all the solutions we can and bring the community together so they all understand and they all can volunteer and help.
In a lot of our episodes, we've had parents talk about the schools not helping. They don't seem to care. And I don't think that's the case. I think the schools care. How often do the schools reach out to you guys for help?
So we actually are funding different districts dollars to have programs inside their schools that are help preventing things happening to the children negatively. So we work very, very closely with the schools. We're proud to be doing that. There's no doubt about that, and we're unified together on the front of helping develop these children. And so a couple of different things that we do is, we're in there for what's considered Hope Squad, and that's a senior high level, and that's where it's suicide reduction piece of it, and it's peer-to-peer suicide reduction. So it's students that have been chosen by other students to be that line of help when they're not feeling loved or not feeling that they're a part of it or feeling like their life isn't worth living. They have a place to reach out to, and then those students have an advisory teachers that they can reach out to. Then from there it goes to, of course, the counselors and those that are prepared to take it on farther. So there's things like that that we are helping support and bring in actually to the schools to make sure that the kids have these outlets to reach out to when they are not feeling well about themselves.
Do the schools ever contact you guys for instance, like suicide prevention? Did they contact you saying, "Hey, Barb, we have this issue of suicide of kids attempting their lives. Do you guys have a solution for us. Do they reach out to you guys like that, looking for help?
I've reached out to them in regards to things that we have found, and they're really good at collaborating. So it's not we have a really great relationship that we can bring up topics all the time, and how can we collaborate together to find a solution. So another one would be I call a navigator position that through our convening process that we do, brought in a lot of different individuals from the medical field to the county, to the city, to the school districts, to survivors of loss, to survivors of, of attempt, you name it. It was a part of that. And we brought together and said, what do we do for youth mental health? How do we wrap our arms around and provide? And we had counselors share in regards to they need help processing children and getting connected to outside resources. So learned a little bit more about that, asked, what does that mean? They said, we really need a navigator. I said, okay, tell me more. What is that? They said, someone who can help the parents or the guardians and the child fill out the tremendous paperwork that has to be filled out for them to even get to the next step to getting, connected to outside resources and get connected to the right outside resource, right, for their child's needs. Plus, then there's a healthcare part of it, all sorts of pieces that are really taking a lot of the counselor's time and the social workers. So whatever we
Yep.
can do to free up their time so they can do the hands-on work, the great work that they do, and do more of that inside the schools, and then have someone else really walk alongside of that parent and guardian through a really trying time and get them connected as fast as we can. And so through this, we started out with one for a pilot system, a pilot try, and that was hugely successful. So now we have 4 navigators working within the 13 districts. And we started out in elementary to be upstream to try to, catch them as soon as we can to help them get the tool sets they need to be successful. So when they get into junior high and senior high, they know how to process through the different things and challenges that they are coming up to.
With your navigator program, is that a professional or is it a volunteer in the community who's stepping up to help out with that?
They're hired professionals. So they go through an interview process, and, they have the social work background. They have all the criteria that they need to take the child on.
Are they hired through the United Way?
It's hired through the districts.
Oh, hired through the
Hmm.
districts. Okay.
Yeah, so it's not hired through United
Okay.
Way. But whenever we see those gaps, or we see an initiative that needs to be started, or have the light shined on it to try to find, a path for change with it, we will wrap our arms around those, and get rid of the stigma the best that we can, and keep working at that and get rid of the barriers, right? So that's, I take as my responsibility to make sure that we bring those forth to the public, to the community, to say we have some issues here that we really need to get our arms around as a whole, holistically, and find solutions for it. So that's what I do. We don't run the program. We're not a United Way who runs programs. It's really important that we stay freed up so that we are able to
Yep.
identify these areas that need more attention.
The Hope Squad's the newest, like, I believe it's the newest program that you guys brought to our community. What was the process of getting a program like that into our schools?
First, you have to vet it out. You have to find out, is it what our communities need? Is it what the kids need? What's the integrity of it? Is it going to get the outcomes that we need to have happen for our children? And review all of that. And then you bring in the superintendents, and you have now what we call our Zoom calls, right? Have a call with a provider, and then with all the superintendents, and then they'll bring on their principals, or bring on, might be their counselors, whoever else it might be, that they want to review what it's all about and the curriculum that's with it, and what's the process, and go through all of that. And then you have to have them if they're on board or not. So if they're on board to bringing it into their schools, then you fundraise to help them so they have the financial means to put them on, to have Hope Squad within their school.
How does it get decided that the suicide prevention, the Hope Squad, was a community need? Was there certain criterias that the community had to meet to get a program like that?
No, you just have to have the welcoming of the superintendent and the schools themselves, the
Okay.
district, to say that they're okay with having it come in. That's what you need to have done. The awareness piece of it is Emma Benoit is a suicide survivor, attempt survivor, and she has come to our region, and she's spoken to almost 14,000 youth right now, and some community members, and actually has gone beyond our service area now, helping save lives. And she brought Hope Squad in, and she's the one who brought that to us, along with Mel Hoffner, who you've met. was an advocate for
Yep.
suicide prevention. And so I learned from them right away when we started to dive into what we need to do to help reduce the suicide thoughts that we have within our students and how we save more lives. And that came out from that. And then that's when I really started digging into it to bring it forth to our community and our leaders that we should really bring this into our schools.
Okay, so it was the United Way, like the Greater Mankato United Way, who brought it to the schools. Once it's in the schools kind of take over, right?
Correct.
And they go
Yes.
from there.
Yeah. So we don't do any of the programming or
Awesome.
making sure the day to day is happening. They embrace it beautifully, like they are and always have been. And that's one of the things that we are really blessed in our four county area that we have great relationships within our systems that we work hand side by side finding solutions for our children.
Yeah, I attend your bi-weekly meetings for the United Way, and I was surprised how many professionals, and I believe some are just business owners are volunteering their time that come together, and we're all working to try to solve an issue. And I think it's great. I didn't realize that until I obviously started going to the meetings. Like, wow, there's a lot going on here behind the scenes that the community doesn't really see.
It's really
Really great.
It is, and it's really important that you get all different viewpoints. And if you really want to make a
Yes.
difference, you have to have those, and you have people that are willing to put in the time to find the solutions. And you need all those different avenues to get that done, right? Because everyone has their own involvement, social, people that they're with, or however it might be, the avenues, the veins that they're a part of. It's just really important that you have all that representation out there very broadly to make sure that you can hit the initiative you're trying to wrap your arms around really strongly.
So can anyone become a part of one of your subcommittees?
They sure can. There's a probably an interest that they might have more so than the other part of it. So there's branch off committees like the anti-bullying with you, Tim, is one, and then we have our parent hub that we're creating. The one stop for parents to go to when they're in the crisis modes. What do they do? What number do they call? Who do they go and get help from? We have that one. We have the suicide prevention part of it. We have all sorts of offshoots from this committee that people can be a part of. You don't have to have a certain degree or anything like that. Is just it can be anyone who has a passion to make sure that we can make a change. And so we want to, change for the future, right? Make it positive and save all these precious lives that really are struggling, thinking that their life doesn't matter.
Is that the same throughout all the United Ways in the communities?
Every United Way is unique, and
Anyone can
that's a
join.
really great question. Every United Way is unique in itself, and we focus on what our gaps and needs are within the area that we're responsible for. So it's our job to make sure that we bring light to it, and so we won't all be the same. And we're ran independently by our
Okay.
boards. We're governed by our boards, and so it's just really important that we're really focused on what is it that's needed within the area that we're responsible.
I'm gonna go back to the schools a bit. I really want people to realize that the schools are doing their best. Obviously, you came with the suicide prevention. You approached the schools with it. They accepted it open arms. I think the problem with bullying is it's not my people. We have this thought that it's not our fault, Barb. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. It's somebody else's fault, and that's just not true. There's a saying: "It takes a village to raise a child," and that's very true. That's why we got the United Way. What type of needs are you guys looking for in the greater Mankato area that you guys need help with in helping with the anti-bullying, helping with suicide prevention, helping with mental health? What kind of needs do you guys have where you could really use some more help?
So being on one of the committees, like we just talked briefly about finding where your interest lies to volunteer to be a part of that and help us with, making the change that's the first step forward. We, want to really concentrate on basic needs, health and education. Those are the three pillars that we need in our community strong and sustainable for this generation and future to stay balanced. That's why you don't see United Way focusing only on one of those pillars, say basic needs alone and not with the health and education because people need help in all of the different areas. And that's why it's important that our United Way never loses that focus of the overall holistic look. But people can help with any committee that we've got. There's a volunteering and all different kinds of aspects. It can help with the different programs that we're supporting financially and the great works that they're doing. It could be helping United Way, get the things done that we need to get done, helping with these initiatives, getting them broader and deeper and moving faster than what they are today. And they're moving pretty fast already, but we always want to move faster because the lives are depending on it. And help just spread the great work that the schools are doing. People that help. There is a lot to do, and there's a lot of things that need to be taken care of. And I am, like I said, proud to be working alongside all the leaders that I'm working with and trying to make change and make everything better.
So, Barb, what is your goal with the anti-bullying committee?
I'd like to see where we're doing more activities with the students on how they can be preventative in that and how their words and their choices are affecting others, that they learned that at a very young age, on the importance of being respectful to others, having kindness, right? Just sharing that you care and be nice to each other, and how that goes so much farther than ever saying a word that you can never take back, that it could hurt someone for the rest of their lives, and understanding that what that means. And that's why we created our children's book that we just released called The Kindness Booth. And it's going to go out to all the first graders within our 4 county area, free to the students, hand delivered. And we're going to read the book to them. And it's all about being kind. And then after they get done with the book, there's activity packets to do, like a month activity, or how you create a card to say you're thankful, thanking someone for something they did for you. Just all different gestures like that brings out joy, right? We need to make sure that we're all thankful for each other, finding the strength in each other, bringing that to light, and just letting everyone know they're beautiful the way that they are. And so that's just really important to me, to go upstream. I'll talk about that again, is that go as far as we can,
Yeah.
so as young as we can, to make sure we're instilling the importance of just, oh, yeah, open the door for someone. Say that, hi, how are you today? Really have that really nice gesturing careness that we all need to have.
I might have missed it. Are you doing those book readings in schools?
We
Is
are
that
all the first grade schools in the elementary throughout the 4 county area. So it's 13 districts, public and private, will be going in. And it's a book that's donated. It's a paperback book called The Kindness Book. And actually, I had one of my employees, Laura Murray is her name. She's an author. And I asked her to write the book for our United Way. I wanted to make sure that we were out there in the schools talking about the importance of kindness. And we got it published through Capstone, and we're just very blessed to have that. So we're going to be, in the next 2 weeks or so, going out to all the little first graders within our 4 county area. They're going to get the free book.
and I love that there's an activity packet with it that they can do, that they can continue on to work on these habits. 'Cause some kids, you tell them a story, you tell them a book, and next day they forget about it. But you have a way to keep this going on within the schools. I think starting young is the best way to go. Start building those habits.
Yeah, so we created it's called a helping hand matching game. How do you match up the helping hand to each other? There's one that you have a weekly calendar of what you do each day for a gesture of being kind. You name it, has all different pieces of it, but the whole book talks about, you know, it's kind of a gloomy day. It's kind of like it's, sad time, how you find joy within that, how you go and help others find joy. And it's just a really cool book that really it goes to any age. It's not necessarily have to be elementary by any means. There's many adults that would gain a lot from this book by just having it to read through it and think, that's right. I can write a thank you note to whoever it might be they interacted with, just for them taking time to, maybe, I don't know, have lunch or a meeting, whatever it might be, and bring up something that really was genuine, that you were thankful for from them, and let them know that you're thankful for whatever that portion was. That's going to go a long, long way. And the more that people do that, the better our world is going to be.
Barb, is there a committee that you guys are not offering right now that you want to see being offered, or is there a committee that you want to see grow a little bit more, where you guys need more volunteers to kind of help push it along? Like, how can we get involved today?
Well, I would say reach out to, Greater Mankato Area United Way, so mankatounitedway.org, and share that you want to be a part of our committees we have right now. So any of our committees initiatives we're working on can be broader and needs to be stronger. So we welcome anyone who wants to be a part of that, to help us have us move along faster. And again, like I said, it's not that we're not moving along fast, because we are, but boy, when there's an issue, I really like to accelerate and do all we can as soon as we can, as fast as we can, to find solutions. So anyone's welcome to be a part of any of the different committees that we have.
What type of committees do you guys have going on right now?
So we have, the youth mental health suicide prevention offshoots of that, the anti-bullying. the Parent Hub, all of those different initiatives we got there. I'm talking more about Hope Squad, where else we can have that and be impactful. We have our the specific of that suicide prevention. We're doing a little more work within
Yep.
that sex trafficking prevention. We've got our arms wrapped around that, and how we educate those that are in the trade work to also children what signs to look for and what to stay away and what to report. Those types of things there. Substance abuse advocacy. We are working hard on that too. So anyone who wants to be a part of that, literacy overall, the social emotional development of children and how important comprehension is, and being able to read and process. We have another group working on that. So we have a number of them that are out there that anyone can be a part of.
Is there a time commitment somebody has to give in order to help out?
No, there's not a time commitment. No, they can just, whatever time they have is valuable.
Barb, I want to thank you for your time out of your busy schedule to come on my podcast and kind of shed some light on what the local Mankato community is trying to do to help out with the mental health. And you guys are doing a very awesome job. If people want to get a hold of you and become a part of the United Way, how can they do that?
They can go through our website, which is a mankatounitedway.org. Call us at 507-345-4551. Also, you can look at for our different emails. They're all listed on the website as you search for it. So reach out that way. That would be great. As far as getting a hold of, you want to have our children's book. If you're interested in reading that and seeing that, it's being sold by our local Barnes and Noble here in Mankato, but also it's on Amazon. And Capstone is selling it throughout their whole distribution list. So libraries will have it. It'll be all over the United States. So we're excited about that. So please get a book and spread the kindness.
Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
And for myself, you can always find us at our very own website, which is www.breakingbullying.com. You can also reach out to us at our email address. If you have a story of your own bullying to share, or for whatever reason you want to get a hold of us, our email address is breakbullyinghere@gmail.com. If you're a victim of bullying and you don't know where to turn, there is online resources to help you. The first is the government's very own anti-bullying website, and the address is www.stopbullying.gov. And other online resource is www.pacer.org/bullying. Now, if you have had thoughts of suicide or of self-harm, we implore you to stop. Reach out to the National Suicide Hotline. That number is very simple. It's 988. I'm Tim Flynn, and thank you for listening, and we will be back next week to continue the conversation to break the silence on bullying.